Hello and welcome everybody back to another video. Nerd tech. So some new technology is going to be coming out soon for the future. Intel's been announcing their new CPUs and what's going to be happening and stuff like that because they got the i9 now, etc. I've currently been behind with some of the things that they've been doing, but I briefly looked at this video and some of the stuff is mind blowing in there. You'll have to go and see with me.
Hey, what's up, guys? Joker here. I actually just got back home. Today I was at the Intel launch event for their new ninth
Shout out to
generation
Joker.
series of processors they were hosting at the World Trade Center in New York City. Had a really good time. Always like to go to these things, especially because I get to interact with colleagues. I saw Steve from Gamers Nexus there, Paul from Paul's Hardware, Bitwood Kyle was there, and a bunch of other people, Keith from WCCF Tech. So it was nice kind of getting to meet some people that I had met before and also putting faces to names of the people that I talk over email. So it's always fun getting to go to these industry launch events. And of course, we get the first chance to get kind of hands-on experience and experience these products and be able to ask questions and stuff, which just helps us later on in terms of our testing. So today we're going to be going over everything that we found out today. We've got prices, we've got specs. I've also got some information after talking to some of the guys there that were doing the overclocking on the 9900K processor, the new 8-core, 16-threaded mainstream part from Intel. So we're going to get into all of the information here.
So yeah, basically
so
our
most
future's
of you guys
looking
out there,
good.
you're probably going to be interested primarily in the new mainstream part. So they've got the i5, i7, and i9, which has definitely had a shakeup compared to the previous generations. They also did announce a new Xeon processor, a 28-core. Also, the X series, kind of an update to what they did last year. This is very much a refresh on the last generation, but they are adding in some new improvements architecturally and some other features like the 9th gen mainstream processors now have integrated Wi-Fi, which is actually pretty awesome that they're going to have that integrated right into the CPU.
Yeah,
So
this
you
is
don't
the
need to
part
worry
that really
about getting
shocked
a
me the
motherboard
most.
that'll support it or buying an adapter or anything like that. It's going to be baked right into the chip. So that's actually
Yeah,
a pretty
because
nice
this is what
feature.
I had to
Probably
do. I
something
had to
most people don't
friggin'
really think about.
get
But I
what
can't
get,
tell you
get
how many
Wi-Fi
times I've thrown
adapter for
together
my
systems and not had
PC build,
Wi-Fi
and
set
now
up,
they've
or
got
maybe the
Wi-Fi
motherboard didn't
integrated
support
into
it,
the
something along
CPU
those lines,
chip.
and I
It's
had to go
just
find my
amazing.
adapter. And
Like,
it's just
so
it could be a pain in the
everyone
butt
in the
or added
world
cost for some people that
is
maybe
going
don't
to have
have
Wi-Fi
a
initially.
Wi-Fi adapter laying around. Also, with the new 9th gen processors, they are finally going to a soldered thermal interface material, their STIM. So they are finally going to be soldering these CPUs, which is going to mean improved thermals, possibly better
Wait.
overclocking at the end of the day. And when you're adding more cores onto the
No,
same die,
hold on.
you're going to want to have the best cooling that you can possibly get. And this is, also overnight going to completely kill the delidding business probably, since the reason that people delid their
Oh,
processors in the first place is because Intel was using thermal paste and not a soldered TIM. So now there's really not going to be much reason
well, we
to
don't
go
need
ahead and do
de-lidding
that unless
anyway.
they did a
Well,
poor job or
some
they don't
people want
even
to
put
go over
enough
the top,
solder
yeah, but
or something. I'm sure
I
people will
don't think
still
that's a problem.
want to pry apart their processors to get a closer look and see the kind of job that Intel did with the soldered TIM here, especially on the first round here with the 9th gen processors. So, but it's a good thing at the end of the day that they are going to a soldered TIM. Someone in the crowd did actually ask what the increased cost was just for using solder versus a thermal paste, and they would not reply. They wouldn't go into the cost of manufacturing. So I have a feeling it probably only cost a few cents extra, and they probably didn't want to answer that question because then they would have to admit that it was silly that they haven't done it sooner. Now on to the specs and the prices. Now obviously the most exciting one here is probably the
I'm not
i9
surprised.
9900K. So it's
You're pretty
8
much
cores and
better
16
like
threads. The
waiting
first time
for the
that
price to
they're
come
doing
down
this
because they're always going to
with the
bring out
mainstream,
another
and I
friggin'
have a feeling we probably wouldn't have
chip
seen
anyway.
these this soon if it was not for the big shakeup that AMD Ryzen brought into the market last year. But that's really why we need good competition, is because it pushes the envelope further and forces the competition to rise to
The
the
i5
occasion.
ain't too
No pun
bad.
intended. Rise, Ryzen.
$262,
So 8 cores,
9600K.
16 threads. They are saying it can turbo up to 5 gigahertz, but that will not be across all cores, of course. But I'm expecting these to be able to hit 5 gigahertz on a decent cooling solution, as the previous Coffee Lake processors were able to do that. They did have an overclocking setup there with a few different PCs. Two of them were running on liquid nitrogen, and they had some scores posted, like some world record type scores and some synthetic benchmarks. But just keep in mind that those were running on liquid nitrogen, and even with liquid nitrogen, the temperatures certainly got pretty warm when they were running it up. They were running it up like 5 gigahertz. And
If
I was
you,
still seeing
the Cinebench,
get pretty high,
Cinebench
but they
is
were
like
definitely
to test
throwing out
the
some,
graphical potential
impressive scores at the
to
end of the
see
day. I
like
did talk to one of the
basically
overclockers
to
there,
push the graphics to
about
its
the
highest to see what you
9900K
can
and
do the
overclocking
best
and
score.
what he was seeing when running on a normal.
So it gives it like complicated
air-based
like
cooling solution,
graphical
and he said it was able to hit
5
gigahertz
artifacts or whatever
easily.
you want to call it.
Obviously, once we get these in-house and we're able to do some more testing, we'll see how much further we could push them past 5 gigahertz. On a really golden sample with Coffee Lake, you could expect to see 5.1, 5.2, especially if you did delitting. But now the fact that these are soldered means you don't really even have to do that. So I'm definitely hoping to see these processors hitting maybe just a little bit above 5 gigahertz, and it is also pretty good that they have managed to keep the same TDP here. So it's a 95 watt TDP. Increase the cache, 16
well,
megabytes
to
of cache,
Intel and
to
stuff
40
like that,
PCIe
deleting and stuff
and
like that
it
is
is gonna be
probably
coming
not
out at
really their concern.
$488, so
That's
a
why
little
they're
bit
slowing
pricey
it
there.
down. They probably just want to
But,
stop
8-core
everyone from
16 thread at
deleting
5
the stuff,
gigahertz. I
because
don't know if that's too much
when
to
people
ask for.
delete things or
Let me know
mess
your
with
thoughts
things,
down in the comments below.
it comes
Really
back on them.
like the weirdest thing about this lineup is that rather than segmenting the different processors by core
All the
count,
drama does basically.
they decided to do it by removing hyper-threading, even at the i7, which I think is going to leave a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. That the i7 9700K is now going to be 8 cores, but it's only going to be 8 threads, so it doesn't have any hyper-threading, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I think they probably would have been better off if they did the i7 as a 6-core 12-threaded, just like with the 8700K, because with this one only having 8 threads, even though it's 8 physical cores, I would have to assume when it comes to multi-threaded workloads, the 8700K is actually going to beat it. So it really doesn't seem right now, at least just on paper, I'm just talking about just on paper, it doesn't seem like a whole lot of sense to go for the 9700K compared to the 8700K if you want the added, multi-threaded workload stuff like that. If you're doing video editing, anything like that, streaming, I would imagine you would want to have as many threads as possible, whether they're physical, logical, or otherwise. So it's kind of odd that they didn't just go with 6 cores, 12 threads there. And then, of course, the i5, we would expect that to not have hyper-threading. That's been what they've done traditionally.
Really, we need to friggin' upgrade anyway, because 8K is the future now. So I mean, like my PC is going to have to friggin' upgrade. But I'm not going to upgrade it too soon. I'll probably upgrade it in the next 5 years or something like that, until it comes to the point where it's obsolete. But for now, my PC is running probably the best it can do is probably 2K tops or something like that.
Game performance,
maybe for push it 4K or like friggin' 5 frames a second or something like that. But to be honest, it's good enough for what I do anyway.
But basically, what they're promising is about a 10%.
But we're gonna have a jump for the future anyway. There's a lot of things changing now, and 4K is pretty much old news now. It's all about the 8K, isn't it now?
It was a 6th gen series processor that they had tested against, which was the 3-year-old PC that they made for a comparison, and they're saying it's looks like 35 to 40% faster in some of the games and applications that they mentioned. But until we get a chance to actually test it, we'll have to see how much merit is to those claims. They also got some brand new packaging this time around for the Intel processors. It's got like an octagonal. I don't know if it's actually an octagon, but it definitely feels inspired by octagons because it's an octa-core processor.
Someone comment below on what shape that is. Whoever's did the best in maths will know that shape.
In the center of the box. The box that I was handling didn't actually have the 9900K inside of it, but that's the packaging that they're at least using.
It looks cool.
For that processor. I don't know if it's going to be the same for the i7 and i5 as well, but that looks like that's what they're using for the i9s anyway. And yeah, I'm kind of indifferent on it, but hey, they're trying something new here with a little bit of a different packaging. I kind of feel like this maybe is inspired a little bit about like it reminded me of like the AMD and what they did with their Threadripper packaging. So I don't know. Maybe they took some inspiration there. I'm not really too sure, but it's definitely different from what they've done previously with just the standard cardboard box. On top of the mainstream processors, they did also show off some high-end desktop stuff with the new Core X series, which are going to be 8 to 18 cores respectively. They did show off the pricing and specs on all of these different processors as well. So we've got all the way at the top, we've got the 9980XE, which is going to be 18 cores, 36 threads. So this is going to be a pretty incremental update probably to the last generation, but they're going to have the new Intel Turbo Boost 3.0 on this. It's going to be coming in at just under $2,000, and I am really hoping, fingers crossed, that I get one of these in for testing, because I would love to throw this thing inside of my main system, which I'm going to be rebuilding soon, and put this thing through its paces and be able to use it for video editing on a daily basis, because right now I'm using a 6-core 12-threaded Broadwell E processor, and I need an upgrade. Daddy needs an upgrade, whether it's a 9900K or a 9980XE. I want one of these CPUs inside of my main system as soon as possible. So Intel, hook your boy up, and yeah.
Yeah, go on Intel if you ever see this video.
But I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here, guys. Please let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on the coverage from the Intel 9th generation launch that I did up in New York City. I was going to record there, but I couldn't really find like a quiet
but not obsolete.
Really record and get out of the way of everyone.
Terminator Genesis.
Music playing, and I didn't want to get a copyright strike for
That's
that,
a quote
so I decided
from that.
to record it here back in the studio when I got home. And I live only 45 minutes from the city anyway, so it was a pretty short train ride in for me to be able to go to this event. But I was definitely happy to attend my first event with Intel. As I said, thank you to them for having me out. Look forward to going to more of them in the future. But as I said, I'm going to get out of here. I look forward to your comments and discussion down below. Oh, I do want to see your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, leave a thumbs up on it down below. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow for another video. Tara.
Alright, so we've got an update on that. That was great stuff. Thanks, Joker Productions. Go on, subscribe to him as well. You know, subscribe to me. But anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. And yeah, the future's looking great. Wow, every computer in the world will have Wi-Fi in it now. Alright. A wireless society, eh? Alright, peace family. I'm out. See you in another video.
Pikachu.